Right, let's make sure the mic is on. Welcome back, everyone. Hey, let's welcome back to the Black Betterment broadcast. This is show 17, I believe. We are now officially in the new year, which is great. I hope for everyone that 2021 is at minimum 3 times as good as 2020. I hope so. That's at minimum. Right. So what we're going to do, we're going to open as we always open. A very unique, interesting show this week. So let me not delay and remove that from the screen, as we say. So we're going to get rid of that. Voila. Now, see if I can do that record-breaking speed. I usually forget every time. Stop screen. Yep. Share screen. Yep. So far, so good. Now we're going to find that fantastic tab. Where are we? There we are. I think it's that one. Yep. So yes, excellent. So so this week is a question, but before we get to that question, this is show 17, and the reason why we had the Black Betterment show is because after much research, I have unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. That's very unfortunate. Very skilled individuals when it comes to operating as soloists, fantastic, unrivaled, but unfortunately when it comes to working as a team, there's much work to be done. Hence why we are pushing forward the Black Betterment lifestyle. But let's go. But today, hopefully, we can uphold the 4D values if we can. And what are those? That is discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. If we can use that as we navigate around our show today, that'd be good. Like I said, we make these shows. Hopefully, we can have some kind of vibe going on. We record them, and in future time, people can actually listen to them and maybe get some information that might benefit their lives. Right. So what is Black Betterment? Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. That's pretty much it. That's how it works. That's right. Black Betterment is a lifestyle. Aha. So what we're trying to do is promote a lifestyle of Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. All good. Everyone's a winner. Everyone's winning that one. So that's what we're trying to do. Now, this week, and it's going to be more than this week, I'm going to say, we're going to be hitting a topic where we're going to discuss do Black women feel included in organizations that practice Black Betterment? So we're going to hopefully go on a more of a woman focus, a Black woman focus, I should say. I think it's overdue. Unfortunately, depending on who you ask, I'm not a woman, so I cannot really answer that question. But what I can do is just give some observations. And what I'll do is I'll send a link out there now. I'm going to give observations, send the link out there. And if anyone resonates or has anything to add or wants to add to this topic, they most certainly can. I can't necessarily answer that question. I think one of the learnings is when a question is asked about a particular group, it's best to get that group's opinion. So I shall post the link out there to the universe. And any Black, or anyone to be honest, can jump in. I mean, anyone who's like us jump in. But I think we want to give preferences to Black women on this particular question. And like learning is important. It's one of the best things we can do. But before we ask the universe and the women out there what their feelings are, just an observation. I do a lot of Black Betterment work. I go out and do public speaking, and I go to groups and stuff. And I usually sit in organizations where I try to help write codes of conduct and try to help, navigate around the best way how Black people can interact and minimize anxiety and minimize confusion, that kind of stuff, right? And sometimes there's a lot of things that go on without saying and a lot of like filling the gaps. So what I mean by that is, so at Speaker's Corner, that's where, you might see me. You tend to get like herds of people discussing things, and people with the same kind of ideas end up talking to each other. And you will get a lot of Black men just, hanging in circles and talking and being very, very boisterous and this kind of stuff. Now, a lot of women have come to me, Black women, and a lot of them have felt that whatever is going on in Speaker's Corner might not be inclusive of Black women. and they might get that by only seeing black men talk, right? And that is actually for very that's very from the truth. From what I've seen, there's always an encouragement for black women to come through, but like I said, you're not really getting the articulation from any of the black guys, and a lot of black guys are there doing their thing and they're shouting and screaming and jumping back and forth, and the last thing on their mind. So I'm trying to create spaces where that does happen, but it isn't through lack of wanting of why you might not see that in some situations. Um, so that's why it's always good to talk. And as I was talking to sisters, they would say, "Oh, do you guys do this for this reason?" I go, no, actually, the guys are not even aware that they might be getting off that vibe. Um, you do get sometimes different techniques. It's not driven by sex or gender or anything like that. Like some people are more in your face, some people are more laid back, and if they're more in your face style of communication, that doesn't really work well for some women, I guess. Some women are really good at that, but some women prefer no. If I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk. I'm not going to do the whole jumping up and down and entertaining style kind of style, whatever. So so that's just a brief observation. We have Sister Bay, John. I'm going to add Sister Bay because Sister Bay might be an expert in this kind of field. Welcome, Sister Bay. I'm just adding you to the stream.
Hi.
Hey, welcome again. It's always great to see you. Your contribution is golden and it's appreciated. And Black people, thank you for it. Consistency is a very important thing. It's a lesson that we're trying to learn collectively. So the questions on the screen, Sister Bay. Do Black women feel included in organizations that practice Black betterment?
Happy New Year, Raven.
Happy New Year, Sister Bay. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to your family and to everybody listening. And may the new year be a better new year for us all.
Yes.
I would say no. I, as a Black woman, don't feel included in the Black betterment organisations, whether they're Pan-African, Black nationalism. I don't. The only one I feel included is my own ethnic groups. Black betterment. Well, it's for people of Ibibio origin, and they, raise money and do language lessons, and the money that's raised is used to pay for education for children in the state that Ibibio people come from in Nigeria. So I feel included because they are women there. I feel included. But if it's the wider Black family, I don't feel included because they're quite patriarchal. There's a lot of misogyny, a lot of anti-Black women sentiment.
So I'm going to jump in every time just so we can expand and get everyone's opinion and stuff. So when you see it, do you reckon that feeling you get, do you reckon that might be deliberately from the brothers, or do you reckon that might be indirect? What do you feel?
I think some of it is very direct. It depends on what type of brothers you're talking about, because they are Black men that I've come across in Black betterment that generally want to help Black women have their voices. But then there's the really aggressive ones that, because there's some people in Black betterment that really adhere to the Bible, and they will come across like a Black man that was like a Jehovah's Witness,
right?
And he claims to be loving himself as a Black man, but he promotes very extreme views in terms of Black women's grooming. And everybody knows what Jehovah's Witnesses are like. They don't take blood. They can't take a blood transfusion. They don't celebrate Christmas. So it's a very extreme, Puritan way of living. And his idea, and this is what you do find in the Black community, when the people that claim that they're pro-Black, that they will tell you that don't comb your hair. Lock your hair because it's the most natural way to be, even though locking your hair is an extreme way of doing your hair, because the majority of Black people put a comb to their head. And when you start promoting not combing your hair, then they'll start using Bible verses where there's somewhere in the Bible where it says man and woman shouldn't cut their hair. Do you see what I mean? So it's very domineering, and that a woman, then they'll bring a Bible passage that woman should submit to her husband. That's what I find. There's a considerable amount of, even though these people who claim to be for Black, a considerable amount of Black men in the Black Betterment, they are pro-Black men.
Right.
They're not pro-Black women.
Right.
And then they try and dress it up like it's pro-Black.
Right. So from what I'm hearing, a lot of things you're saying there, I think one thing I'm noticing is you mentioned religion. So do you feel that maybe people's interpretation of religion or reading of religion might be a contributing factor to your feelings towards many of these men maybe not giving you the opportunity that you feel you need?
Yeah, because I think, in terms of Black Betterment, what's it like? One half of Africa is Christian, one half is Muslim. So and in Caribbean there's a lot of Christianity. So undoubtedly the Abrahamic religions have a very strong effect, and even the people who claim to be liberated.
Right. Very okay, interesting. Yeah. So would you say that the culture before the Abraham phase became widespread in Africa was more inclusive of women or the same?
Yeah, like I can't speak for the whole of Africa because I haven't studied the whole of Africa, but I can say for the cultures that I've studied, like the Amazigh, with people known as the Berber cultures, the Tuareg, they are known for being paternal. Is it maternal? Paternal, yeah. No, it's maternal, yeah. So inheritance is gone down the female line. If a woman has a divorce, she takes her, what she brought into the marriage. In my ethnic group, if you look at the origin story, and if you look at the Yoruba origin story, it's a love story. The creation story is a love story. Do you know what I mean? It's not women relegated to just giving birth to God and then that's it. Right. It's man and woman being together in a partnership. But you don't get in the Abrahamic religions. They're very patriarchal. All of them, they're male-dominated religions.
So what effect do you reckon that has on Black women who feel this way? What does it have any kind of effect when this happens? This kind of like lack of inclusion from the perspective of what you're saying. How do they end up feeling? Do they react? How do they react from what you've seen?
You know what I've noticed? Like obviously, Abrahamic religions interact with white supremacy, and the white supremacy or the Western world is a patriarchal world. Yeah. And what I find with a considerable amount of Black men is that they want to dominate Black women the way white men dominate white women. Right. And the fact that Black men are treated like children, like they're not men, like, I know you read Neely Fuller. Yeah. One of the things he says about Black men and being a man, there's only one man in the white supremacist world, that's the white man. And everybody else who's a man is treated like a child. Right. And what you find is they are a considerable amount of Black men who, because they can't control their world, they can't be a man and they're treated like a boy. Yeah, they take that frustration out on Black women. Right. Because that's the only people that they can dominate. Interesting. And they use Abrahamic religions to do that.
So do you feel that the religion might just be then used as an excuse, as in like, actually, it's this kind of back and forth with white supremacy where, and the religion is more of an excuse to do something that they kind of want to do anyway? Or is that okay? Right.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know like in Igbo, Efik and Ibibio culture, when you go to the villages, you will see the women running the markets. You won't see men there. The men have other duties, like whether they're catching fish, building boats, whatever. But it's run, the market is seen as an extension of a woman's office. As the kitchen is seen as a woman's office, so is the market. Right. Yeah. And you don't have men standing there complaining because they can't deal with the money and selling. They just get on with it because people have roles. Yeah, you wouldn't, and so that's quite a matriarchal way of thinking. But if you come into the white man's world, and us Black people, we live in the white man's world, it's very rare that you will see women in any Western country running a market and doing commerce, as well as being a mother and a wife.
And this is something we see in Central and West Africa a lot, you're saying. This is kind of like, I know when I was in Gambia, I did see a lot. Well, to be honest, the entire market was run by women in Gambia. And I think the men were more fishermen. They were going to sea, I think.
Yeah, they go and do the supply and bring the stuff in, but in terms of them going to the market and then doing the buying and selling, that's not seen. They're not meant to be doing that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I think they have a concept in Central Africa and West Africa that you can be a mother, you can be a daughter, you can be a wife, and you can also do business. Yeah, you don't have to be asking permission. They don't. You can make your own money, and the money your own, and then you go and you use it for your family and whatever. But when these Abrahamic religions come in, then they will start, like, if you looked at what happened in Mali in 2012 when ISIL came, the jihadis came and took over Timbuktu.
Yeah.
The African women that were in the market, were told they weren't allowed to buy and sell. They were cutting off hands. And obviously we know Islam is the Abraham religion. So and they used the Quran to justify what they were doing.
Yeah, a lot of abominations happened in that takeover. A lot of relics were destroyed and stuff. And other books were burnt. Yeah, okay. Well, just so you know, Sister Betty's jump on for the question: do black women feel included in organizations that practice black betterment? Betty is a black woman, so her opinion is valid. Some people say they can't believe what I'm here right now. I'm not too sure on what side that is lingering, but D, you're always welcome to jump on board. The link's there, or you can ask questions within the actual group. And we have Brother Darren jumping in. I'm going to add Brother now. I'm going to actually, this could be a very passionate topic, so let's try to learn from each other. So Brother Darren, I'm adding you to the forum now. You're welcome to have your say. I'm assuming you're male, just about what you've heard and maybe just some additional stuff. But like I said, the best people who will know this, I guess, are women, black women. And I guess if there are actually black men who are trying to help or not trying to help, they might also have a good opinion as well. But Brother Darren, whenever you want to speak, you're welcome to, if your microphone is working.
Yeah, it should be working. Can you hear me okay?
Excellent. Is there anything you'd like to add to that topic, brother?
Plenty. Best big black men do you know who are belittling and hindering black women globally?
Did you ask me a question?
Yes, sister.
Which black men do I know that are what did you say? Hindering black women? Well, there's lots of them around that make a whole career out of disparaging black women.
I'll repeat the question again. What league of black men do you know who are belittling and hindering black women globally?
Why does it have to be globally? Because people don't live globally. They live in one country.
Now, this is my point, sister. You are giving us situations of what's happening in Africa and what's happening in the UK. Now, is this a global phenomenon you're talking about or something specific for the UK?
Yes, it's a global phenomenon because we have white supremacy. What is the opposite of white supremacy?
What is it of white supremacy? There is no opposite.
Of course, there's an opposite. Because black people are the opposite of whiteness. If you're saying white people are superior, what is the opposite of white? Black.
Right.
Who's the most oppressed? When Malcolm X said the most oppressed, most disrespect person in America is the black woman, the most unprotected woman in America is a black woman. That answers your question.
No, it does not.
Like Nigeria, when what's the highest rate of black women dying in childbirth? Pakistan is this first one, and then Nigeria is the second one. Nigeria is a black country where black women die, the second highest rate of dying in childbirth in the world.
So that's a black man's problem, is it?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Because it's black men that are making babies with the black women, that are not protecting those black women and making sure they're in good health so those black women don't die and their children don't die. Of course it's a black man's problem. The black women in Nigeria, they're not married to no white man, are they?
Well, hold on, sis. Hold on, because your opinion seems to very skewed. Black women globally have poor immortality when it comes to birth rates. That's a global thing, my dear, not a Nigerian thing. That's everywhere. Now you're trying to look at one particular section of society and say, oh, you black men, you're not doing enough. No, 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 no. Stop right there.
No, they're
Stop.
not doing enough. I don't need to stop there, right? Why would I stop right there?
Because you're being very with
No,
what
I
you
don't. No, I don't, Darren. Darren, first and foremost, I'm a grown ass woman. You're not my father and you're not my husband. I'm telling you, collectively, black men are not doing enough to protect black women. End of. Get your finger out and stop protecting black women and your black family because you didn't get here without a black woman. I
and I
don't
didn't get here without a black man either.
any black man and what to say about black men. I've got to say it the same way. You don't have to ask me as a black woman what to say about black women.
Your opinion is skewed and misguided.
That's
Well,
your
let's try to unpack this, guys. So,
to your opinion.
one at a time. So we've introduced brother Kel to the swing. Well, let's have a nice back and forth. Now, whenever we talk about black men and black women in particular, it is very passionate. It's a passionate topic, and whose role is what and how we should improve. There's going to be some solutions. There's going to be some challenges, but let's try to actually keep it focused and try to have a back and forth. And one thing that's going to happen, you will be offended. So once you put it out there, it will allow you to actually ask more straight questions now that you know you will be. But the intention isn't to be offended. The intention is to find solutions. Now, Sister Betty has highlighted that there's some challenges going on in some parts of the world. And I guess she's asking, is there a role black men can play to improve that situation? That's what I'm getting from this at the moment. But carry on. Let me just, and welcome brother Kel as well. Kel.
How are you doing, family? How are you doing?
Very good.
Happy Kwanzaa. I believe we're in the 6th day of NEPUS, which is economics. How you doing, Sister Betty? How you doing, Brother Darren?
Happy New Year, Kale. Happy New Year. I'm good, thank you.
Can I say something, or is it? Are we going to finish?
You can. I think your perspective will add a nice kind of bridge to this very interesting, passionate topic. But go ahead, and then we can all go around in a circle.
I'm gonna be honest, and I have to be honest and truthful. I was listening to what Sister Betty was saying, right? And we have to be honest and truthful that unfortunately it is the black man's fault why the black woman's in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I saying this? And I'm only going to use not only psychologically but pan-Africanist way of why it's the black man's fault. Because the black woman has every right to get angry. She has every right to express. If she doesn't get angry at these topics, then she's completely insane. And the reason why I'm saying that for is the black woman, the black man needs to understand. The black woman understands the black man cannot protect her economically away from the white man. We've got to understand that, because in the society that we're living in, unfortunately, all these benefits is a symbolic way of husband to the black woman. All these little things, what they get, these are symbolic, telling us that I am your husband in a, in a weaponry way, whether it be the benefits, whether it be anything that you can name. I can take care of you more than the black man. And the black man, me including, has to understand that the black woman's in this situation because of us. Now, is it our fault completely? No, because it's the Europeans, white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, we have to take responsibility. We cannot protect the black woman economically. That's why the black woman does not respect us, whether you're married or not. Whether you got a job and you're providing, it's still not enough, because she understands you could lose your job and you can't protect her. And that we have to take responsibility as black men, that we cannot protect the black one economically. That's why she's angry with us, and that's why she's never going to respect us, because she understands, although some things are out of context, but she understands this: the white man can protect his woman better than you can. Now, when we're talking about the groups, why I disagree with Sister Bear on this thing is that the Honorable Marcus Garvey, his vice president, was Charlotte Base, and she was the vice president Garveyite of all the Pan Africans around the world. This is the woman who organized the Black Cross, because you know the Red Cross was a racist institution what the Europeans used, which they wouldn't look after black people. So the Honorable Marcus Garvey, way before they did, came up with the Black Cross, but she was controlling that Charlotte Base. So in Pan-Africanism and that, the black woman's always had a leadership role with the black man, and even before that. So I just wanted to clarify that in the Pan-Africanism, we don't believe, and even before, that the black woman's put on that. It was the black man and the black woman that governed Garveyite around the world. And it was the European woman who did not have no say in what she did. And she begged the white man and said that this black man is embarrassing us by allowing the black woman to lead in his organization. That's all I'd like to say.
There you go.
Well, I jump in and finish what I was trying to get to, because quite frankly, I didn't need Brother Kale to jump in and give his piece. Quite frankly, between both him and Sister Betty, I disagree with everything they've said. Absolutely everything.
Now's your time. Let us say it. You're free to speak. Go ahead.
Number one, you both acknowledge that we're living in a society of white supremacy, but yet you're then saying how black men somehow should find power, emboldenment, and strength from somewhere where they've never had it. Number two, how can you be saying that the black woman has a right to put in her venom and vitriol to the black man, as though we don't do our absolute best? Our absolute best, the stand-up ones of us do our absolute best to make sure that our family live right and eat well. And number three, why on earth are you even talking about the likes of Marcus Garvey and his second in command? If his second in command was a black woman, well, that just kind of negates you saying how as black men don't, number one, respect black women, don't honor black women, because if that's the case, how the hell was his second in command a black woman? It does not make sense. You've just failed on your own argument. So as I will repeat again, we are living in white supremacy right here. Sister Betty, I'm sorry to say, but you sound very, very hurt. I don't know what black man you've been dealing with in your personal life, but for that, I apologize for that growth or indecisive black man you've been dealing with. But I guarantee you and Brother Kale, there is a lot of black men out there like me who stand up for our black women and our black family, regardless of white supremacy. And we put it down, whether that be physical, emotional, or financial. So I would like to ask the panel to stop painting all of the black men as losers. Some people have no strength, because you're far from the right point. You are far from the right point.
There we go. So Brother Darren has given his perspective on that. Sister Bay, is there anything that you would like to come back on?
Yeah, I would like, first and foremost, I would ask Brother Darren, do not misquote me. Listen very carefully to what I said. I said some black men. I didn't say all black men. But you chose to hear black men. You did not hear the word some. So don't misquote me. Yeah?
No,
I've not finished, Brother Darren. I've not finished. Yeah? Now, when I'm going to say it again. When Breonna Taylor was killed by those police officers, how many black men got out and rolled out for her the way they got out and rolled out for George Floyd? Yeah. Breonna Taylor was a paramedic that dedicated her life to saving lives. George Floyd was a convicted criminal that broke into a house to rob with at gunpoint a pregnant woman. So black men collectively are very good at forgiving the sins of black men. But when it comes to a black woman that dedicates her life to saving lives like Breonna Taylor, they didn't ride out for her. They only rolled out for her after Floyd George. Now, another thing, when I say that black men collectively don't protect black women and don't do enough, yeah, the word collectively, obviously, Brother David, you don't understand what the word collectively means. If you're a black man and you do right by your family, I commend you. But you don't represent the collective, because I'm talking collectively. Black men do not do enough. Now, when we go to Floyd George, I haven't finished. When we go to Floyd George, there was a black man that stood by while George was murdered by a racist white man. Now, as I said, and I will continue to say, I don't wait on black men collectively to protect me and provide for me as a black woman, because they can't even protect themselves. And they will stand by and let black men be murdered by racists the same way they did it with Floyd George. Thank you.
I'm sorry to say, you're just speaking from a lot of emotive, a lot of emotives right now. You're talking about collective. Are you aware what collective means? If not, look upon the screen, sister. Because when you say collective, you're literally saying the whole of black men, dear. No, you're not talking about some. You're talking about us in general, globally. You keep switching between this some and collective. Which one are you speaking about, Sister Betty? It's either some or it's collective. You're speaking about the UK, you're speaking about Nigeria, now you're speaking about the US. So what pockets of black men are you speaking of here? I don't understand. I really don't understand. I'll finish and I'll get to you, Brother Kale.
Okay, my brother. All right.
Number two, you're speaking about we never rode for Brianna. Absolutely hogswash. Absolutely hogswash. You do not look at all the media out there. And I'm not talking about the so-called media, what is in our faces, BBC News and the likes. I'm talking about the other type of media, the black media. If you don't know what the black media is, I'll be free to educate you after this session. Okay? Believe me, a good amount of us knew what was going on and we was all riding for Brianna. This year, with Mr. George Floyd, if you're not smart enough to know what exactly happened there as to why he got the big ups he did, and then why we got the BLM and the likes of going on, you need to look about this world and see exactly what has happened. Because like you said, George Floyd, yes, he was one of many, unfortunately. And no, he was not no special case, regardless of what he had done in the past or not. Okay, he wasn't no special case. This was very, very, very structured in respect of what happened, the people coming out, BLM, and so on and so forth. Do not think for a second that us black men did not go out there for Brianna and things weren't being done in the background. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Because once again, you're painting us all with the same stroke, the same tired stroke, which many failed black women have tried. And once again, you keep talking about white supremacy and black men not being able to protect ourselves, let alone our black women. Well, which one is it? Is white supremacy completely supreme, where never mind a black man, even any other race can protect themselves fully? Or is it just the black men? Which one is it?
Right, Darren. Right, what I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something that, first and foremost, don't make personal attacks at me. When you start saying, I don't know what black men, upset you or disrespected you or whatever, or your black partner, first and foremost, Brother Darren, that's none of your business. You claim to be a married man, a black man, a black wife. Brother Darren, I've not finished. Try and give me the same courtesy that I gave you.
Hold on, brother Darren. You'll get to finish this debate. I would say this, that if we can keep it topic based, because when we go on the personal, because of the training we have, we will always go somewhere else. So Sister Bay is going to express herself about how she felt about the words given, and then we can hopefully go on. But Sister Bay, finish what you're saying, and we can move on. But this is a lesson that we are collectively learning. And just so you know, the lesson is we want to try not to vacate off a topic and be personal and individualize some particular ideas. We want to collectively talk. But Sister Bay, express yourself, and we can go from there. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Raven. Like I said, Brother Darren, you made a personal attack on me. I've not finished. Yeah. Try and have some decorum, some discipline. Yeah.
When I first started speaking, Sister Betty, so bear that in mind.
Have some discipline and decorum that you claim that I should have. You're a man, you're not a child.
Yourself out, dear. Go for it.
Are you going to speak for me, or I'm going to speak for myself?
I just said
the host has asked you to keep quiet while I speak, and you can't even respect what the host has asked you to do.
As I said,
thank you.
Continue.
Right, I'm going to say it again. You went and said that I don't know what black man hurt you or why you're making it personal. I never made it personal to you. Yeah? Who I am with and what black man I have is nothing to do with you. My opinion on what black men are doing collectively, I don't have to ask your opinion. It's my opinion. You don't have to like it, but it's my opinion. But don't ever think that you can disrespect me and try and tell me about which black man I'm with, which one hurt you. I've not insulted your wife, but you think it's all right to insult my partner. Grow up and be a man and keep on topic and stop making personal digs.
That was not a personal dig, I'm sorry to say, and everybody listening can hear you've got hurt in your voice, sister, whether you want to admit it or not. You sound very hurt, very impassioned, whereas as the host has asked, keep it on point. Come with facts. You haven't come with facts. You're painting very broad strokes about black men globally. You keep skipping from the UK globally, US globally, Nigeria globally. And when I ask you to define what you're referring to, you then talk about, some black men. Then you refer to
Brother Darren.
You need to really be much more specific in how and what you are speaking on, Sister Betty. Okay? And everything I said, Darren, stand by it.
Brother Darren, I'd like to ask you a question. You mentioned that some black men and that it's not all of us, but the Honorable Marcus Garvey, right, he left a blueprint down for the black community globally, and one of the things in his philosophy, he mentioned that you need economics, politics and culture. Now when I observe the 1900s and before that, the Honorable Marcus Garvey was able to organize 50 million black people without using religion. You had the 3 star lines, right? And you had the factories, yeah? Then after the Honorable Marcus Garvey, there was Carlos Crooks who continued it, right? Then when you go into the 50s, the 60s, we had Malcolm X, we had Martin Luther King. The economics was brilliant back then. When Martin Luther King got assassinated, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the millennium, the black man, brother, and we have to be truthful, the black man has not organized the economics correctly. And the reason why he hasn't done that for is because we're at a stage where we use emotion instead of political science. How was the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the rest of the Pan-Africanists was able to help black people to have economics? Because they used a code of conduct. We don't have no code of conduct, sir. And the black woman, she recognizes, although the black woman needs to understand that we don't control the institutions, the European man does, but at the same time, the black woman understands this. That black man may be looking after his family, but why are they not collectively protecting us from what we're going through? Brother, we are in a bad state. We cannot protect our own women collectively. I'm not talking about just your fam, collectively, brother. That's a shame. And the black woman, yeah, sees this. She looks around and sees the Asian woman getting protected by the Asian man. She looks around and sees the Middle Eastern man getting protected. The Middle Eastern woman, sorry, being protected by the Middle Eastern man. Do you understand? And the ironic thing about it is that way before our Great Four, the black man and the black woman, they're the only ones who believed in equal opportunity amongst each other. None of the other nations, when you look at the Abrahamic faiths, particularly the Arabs, they used to bury their women under the ground. When it comes to the European, they believe that the woman is the devil because she made the first man, the black man, the apple. So anything that the woman does is the devil. So it's better to keep away from the woman and be with the man. This is how you have the Roman Greco culture. As well as the Indians, the same thing. They believe that the woman's underneath as well. So you got to understand that when Sister Betty, although it's alliterating certain things in us, but we have to understand the political side to it. The black woman should get angry and she should protest the fault in what's happening, because if she doesn't do that, my brother, and she's comfortable with the situation, then she's going to lose her mind. Just like the black brothers who are angry because when they get a job, they're getting oppressed because they just come out of prison and stuff like that. Or the black boys, they're getting oppressed by the teachers. They should get angry, my brother, because that's part of logic and sanity. Accepting them things, that's insanity. So that's what I'm saying, brother. Although what you're saying, you seem like you're protecting your family, and that's a blessing. But you got to understand, brother, it has to be collectively, because as long as we are disorganized and we fight over tribalism and sexism and gender and stuff like that, the European will always dominate. What did the Honorable Marcus Garvey say? He says the greatest weapon used against black people is disorganization. Get the black woman fighting over the black man. Get the religious people fighting over. While we're doing all these things, guess what's happening? We're not building. So I have to disagree with you, sir, that the black man cannot protect the black woman collectively, whether he's in Africa, even the Nigerian stuff, right? It doesn't matter what African man, where he is and that, he cannot protect the black woman economically. If he did, brother, can you explain to me where's our institution? Where is our banks?
I'll explain that to your brother Kale when you're finished.
Where's our institutions, brother? We have to be honest. Where is our institutions? We don't have. Where's our hospital? Look what's happening in the world. Can we go and take the black woman to a hospital where people who have bad intention are not going to try and sabotage her? We can't protect her, brother. What about the supermarkets? Look what's happening in the world. Can we go to a supermarket that will be kind and not try and kill us with it? No, we can't. What about the banks, brother? Look what's happening in UK, brother. They don't even allow us to have access of certain opportunity wealth to build, but they don't even allow us with that, brother. So that's why I said we've got to be honest with our situation. The black man, unfortunately, brother, we cannot protect the black woman economically, because while we're not Pan-Africanizing our mind, and by the way, I'm a Pan-Africanist, I believe in that 101 and Garveyism is a solution. But because we're not doing that, brother, the black woman's angry and she has a right to be. That's all I like to say.
So, brother Kale, are you aware of the 1885 Treaty of Berlin?
I am aware of that, my brother.
Explain.
Are you talking about when the Europeans all came together and they were all connecting together of which part is going to take of Africa?
Spot on. Is that still in effect today, brother Kale?
It is still in effect today. But why is it still in effect, brother Darren?
Let me carry on. So
Okay.
It's still in effect today, you say? We agree it's still in effect today.
I agree with you.
Right. The likes of brother Malcolm, brother Garvey, you can even go as far as Harriet Tubman. Did they have every single black person heralding them and helping them in their cause?
They had a small amount.
I'll repeat again. Did they have every single black person behind them?
No, they had a small amount, brother.
Brother, that was really a close question, yes or no. So that's a no. So in this current state of white supremacy, which is really, really sophisticated, it's really got its hooks in the whole world. You still reckon that, number one, the likes of you and me, who I would like to think you're in various other grassroots organizations as I am. So with what we're doing, even not having the kudos, having the reach, the solidity of those brothers and sisters who have come before us, and you still think it's the black man's problem why we are where we are right now. Is that what you're telling me?
Brother.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. So the system must be angry with us rather than work with us, just like they did within various many parties. You mentioned Marcus Garvey's party. You could look to the Black Panthers. We all work together. Don't know his or her, but yet you still seem to portray this thing of, oh, no, sisters, you must be angry at us, not work with us, be angry at us, know that we are still working in another person's reality, working in our so-called frequency, which is first, and now we're having to belittle ourselves to work in a second frequency, which is theirs. So you're saying the black woman being Mother Earth knows this, but still must denigrate us because it's still all our fault.
I'm going to answer and I'm going to answer that question. If you remember what I was saying to your brother Darren, in the time of the Honourable Marcus Garvey and before that, the black people had a code of conduct. Then you heard me say, in the 70s, the 80s and 90s, the code of conduct went down, right? So you've got to understand this, my brother. You've got to understand the psychological of the black woman and the black man. Yes, brother, the black woman, she contributed 50% of civilization. And she didn't need to act like masculine to do it, like the other rest of the women do. But there's one thing that we're missing. The black woman, or women, but I'm speaking about the black woman, although she can do exactly the same thing as a man can, build and things like that, but psychologically, it's been instilled in her brain by the creator that she must support and follow the man. I'll repeat myself again. It's been instilled into every woman that although she has the ability to do what a man can do, but it's been instilled in her to support the man on his goal and to follow. Men are leaders, my brother. Women supposed to follow, not in the sense that they're inadequate, but in the sense that the woman reminds the man on his mission. You cannot expect the woman, brother, to do everything. That is not African. That's Europeanized, brother. Because the black woman has not done everything. The reason why the black woman was able to succeed before her time, because the black man helped her. And the reason why the black man was able to succeed in this, because the black woman helped. The Europeans don't believe in that, brother. This is why, for example, when you look at first class, second class, these are all things to do with what can you do for me? But when you look into our culture, and it's to do with collectiveness. When you look at the democracy of the African civilization, whether it be the Benin or whether it be the Congo, stuff like that, it was all to do with collective. Although we elected a king and a queen, but the king and the queen knew that the people have the power and they only elected you to represent that energy. That's what it was like in African culture in the past. Everybody had their roles, but in European culture, the European woman, she was pushed out of everything. She was just treated as a vessel. You see, these things are foreign to us African people because the black woman was never treated as a vessel. She was treated as a chief and a helper. And when it came to intimacy, then that's when, you can get them things from the black woman. But you've got to understand, my brother, you've got to understand that you cannot expect the black woman to lead, brother. Psychologically, the creator's put into her to follow the man. So if the man is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and it's in her installment to know that the man's supposed to lead, and we're not leading because we keep marrying out of our race. We're not leading because we keep settling for individual type of thing. We're not leading because we keep on blaming other things. She's going to get angry and express herself. And that's all I want to say, brother. I don't want to take too much of the mic.
Now, before anyone else jumps in, just so we can remember the question. Well done, guys. Everyone who spoke very clearly and very greatly there. Remember, the question is, do black women feel included in organizations that practice black betterment? And that's the primary question. Now, in that primary question, many ideas and emotions were vibrating and came out, and everyone's jumped on it and given their standpoint on that. But that's the question. Now, if there is any other Black women out in the internet land, you're more than welcome to jump in. What I would say is this is a passionate topic, and let's talk in a way that makes people feel included, so their voice are heard. But it is a passionate topic, so it's a learning experience, so we're learning. But that is the primary question. And I guess all we can do as men is offer our opinion, but mainly react to what Black women are saying. So Sister Betty, I believe, is saying she does not feel included when she's around Black men and in this kind of capacity. And I don't know if there's any people out there in the internet land who might not want to join, but they're more than welcome to push their message for me to read out on the screen. But do Black women feel included in organizations that practice Black betterment? That's the primary question.
Yeah, can I? Yeah. So, like I said, big up to Cushy Cosmetics. Yeah, and this is what I found. When this Black and betterment, when a Black woman expresses their opinion, the dissatisfaction with a Black man collectively, there's going to be a couple of Black men that are very aggressive, very rude, and try to shout down a woman. Yeah. Now, when you look at the Black betterment, if we look at the organizations, the focus on Black women's problems is not there. For example, that in the last year or two, they've highlighted the birth rate and how many Black women die globally. Now, Brother Darren asked me, why am I talking about Nigeria? Because I'm a Nigerian. That is why I'm talking about Nigeria. So, of course, I would focus on my female family members in Nigeria that are the second highest rate of dying around the world. Yeah. Now, when you look at these Black betterment spaces, even if you look at some of these Pan-African conferences, so many of them are run by men, and the focus is on men's problems. Yeah. Where are the organizations that focus on Black women's problems? In relation to childbirth, Black women are more likely to have fibroids. They're more likely to be more numerous and more painful. They're more likely to die. Their children are more likely to die. Where are the Black betterment organizations focusing on that? I don't see that. Yeah. And where are the voices in terms of Black women being killed and murdered? The amount of Black women that are facing domestic violence at the hands of Black men, their partners. Where is the focus on that? There's a group in London, and I can't remember the full name of it. I think it's called Sisters something in London. Anyway, it's a domestic violence organization for Black women. Where is it? And they're begging for funding. If Black men collectively care about Black women, why do Black women have to beg for funding to protect them from domestic violence?
Well, I'd like to say a few things there. Again, I appreciate you're a Nigerian sister. I don't really care if you're from Timbuktu or from the moon. You're still my sister, regardless. But yes, you've mentioned that I'm asking why you're talking about Nigeria. No, I'll repeat again. You're being very naughty in respect of where you're pinpointing these matters of facts. You've gone from Nigeria, you've gone to the UK, you've gone to the US. I've asked again, are you being very specific in what you're asking here? Are you asking about these specific locations, or are you talking about collectively? Because collectively, it is not just some, you're talking about the majority. Not some, the majority. Number two, these organizations where you're saying Black men are in charge and just looking about themselves, name and shame them, sister. Feel free. Because I know the organizations I'm in, we're working very well with our Black sisters. There's no he said, she said. There's no so-called matriarch or patriarch nonsense. No, we work as a team and we're getting things done. And number three, in respect of this particular organization you're talking about in London, it may possibly be Sister Circle. I don't know. That's the only one I'm aware of who quite regularly advertised on the forums I'm on. I don't know. You'll have to confirm. But once again, why should it only be on black men to be putting money into these organizations? Black women work as well. So what are we saying here? It's only a black man problem. I thought we're in this together. It should be a collective problem. We work together. This is a problem we have in this world right now. This splitting hairs, black man versus black woman. We can't work together. And when we do, there's a problem because the black men want to take charge, or there's something else going on. There's infighting, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. No. This should be a collective problem, because at the end of the day, there isn't no big collective of black men out there which are keeping the black woman down. It just doesn't work. It's not that. I can guarantee you in the city of London, there's a heck of a lot more black sisters working in the city of London than there are black men. For the simple fact is, 6 black women are not seen as a threat in the white man's eye. You are not. The black man, however, we're talking a different kettle of fish now. I can tell you many a times on many interviews I've gone in, and unfortunately it's been a case where, we want to talk about your sides, we want to talk about what sport you play. You can do the job, but I'm a little hesitant, I'm a little overshadowed by you. A black sister walking into an employment, yeah, they may not be too keen on your skin color, but at the end of the day, you can't do nothing. So, yes, I understand that. But to be saying that black men are here solely to be belittling black women, we are your main antagonist as to why you are in the position that you are in. No, this is a collective thing. If us black men are being put down, well, unfortunately, that trickles onto our black females as well. And it's no point talking about what the white man does to his woman, what the Asian man does to his woman, what the Indian man does to his woman. I'm sorry, but we as black people have been dealt a very bitter pill. Our situation is absolutely unique to any other race. Let's not get it twisted. The only reason why these other races are on top of us is because the white man has allowed it. Okay? Don't be thinking it's just off their own backs that they've managed to get to the positions that they have. No. The white man has made it very clear, I'm number one. The rest of you, you can battle it for 2, 3, and 4, but you better bloody make sure that the black man and the black race and the black woman are at the bottom of the totem pole. Please, let's not get it twisted.
Right, in terms of Brother David, in terms of the questions that you posed to me, if I do not believe that your question is relevant, coherent, and some of your questions to me are just nonsensical, and it comes across quite emotional. You're going off topic, because this show is about, do black women feel included in Black Betterment? But you have made it about black men. Now, what I would suggest that you do is you ask the host that if you have issues as a black man, that you ask him to dedicate a show to black man's problems. But today's topic is black women's topics. So I would ask you respectively to stay on topic. And if you don't get an answer from me, it's because I don't want to give you an answer, and I don't have to give you an answer. End of.
Well, your comment right there is absolutely belittling and childish, Sister Betty. So if there's something I've said that you don't agree with, feel free to ask. That you're a grown woman, as you told me, a grown-ass woman, as you put it. Feel free to ask. If you think what I'm saying is irrelevant, just ask the question, because I believe everything I have said is absolutely relevant to what this show is about. So what is it you are undecided about, you are unsure about, or you just don't care for? What is it?
Right, I'm going to reiterate it again, because I don't know if you're having a problem understanding English or what I'm saying, right? I didn't interrupt you, Brother Darren. Can you show some decorum and respect for the fact that this show is about black women's voices, not black men's voices? So can you show some respect and decorum?
I would
Like I
have
said, and I'm going to explain it to you very carefully, and you're going to listen. I do not care whether or not you agree with me. The fact of the matter is, if you pose a question to me, I do not feel like it's relevant. I think it's nonsensical. I think it's personal attacks. You're not getting an answer. End off. I don't need to ask you to explain yourself, because what I'm telling you is I do not care what you think. This is why I'm not answering your questions, because it's irrelevant to me. I suggest that you move on, because in the real world, you're going to meet black women who don't care about what you think. You disrespected me. You don't stay on topic. If you need a black woman to answer your questions, I suggest that you call your wife. But you are not my father and you're not my husband. I am telling you, brother Darren, you're not getting an answer to your questions.
Our family. So
There are two black men that are on this panel. Ask them, move on.
Sister Bay, there's 4 things to jump in. So one thing we have to like the purpose of this show is to find solutions and to actually see patterns. It's very important we see patterns. And before when I started in the short intro blurb, I was saying that there is communication techniques and talking strategies that people have, and there is a certain strategies that work really well maybe amongst like people the same sex, but when it comes to mixing, it doesn't work. The brother Darren, he does have that kind of early passion. He has a very he wants to round out the defense of certain things he disagrees with. But what I'm seeing is that pattern is going towards what many women have spoken about, as in like they feel that when they express themselves, there is like a big massive debate. And that works well with men, especially going to Speaker's Corner. But what I've observed is that technique doesn't work best with the sisters. Because the question is posed, do black women feel included? In this particular topic, their opinions matter the most. And I'm not saying their opinions are correct or not correct. I'm saying the word feel is important because it's a feeling. So what I'm asking the black men to do is observe that feeling and address the way we communicate with each other to try to find a better way to communicate with the women, because there are certain tendencies that they don't show that is similar to men, and that's probably logical. So it's trying to find a way to move around that. But right now, women are leading this particular topic. So black, whatever they wishes to say, it's really up to her. And anyone else who wants to jump in the crowd as well, the link's there. But sorry, someone wants to jump in.
You know what, Brother Raven, right? The reason why I jumped in, I just wanted to clarify something in regards to the gender equality, amongst the black man and the black woman. Well, Sister Bay, she is right, because a lot of the black women, they're not included in the organization suffragette, and unfortunately, the reason why they're not included, if you look at it on a perspective level, is that it's because of the it's the tribalism diagnosis that we have. That the Willie Lynch, the black woman's not included. If they were, then we wouldn't be having this topic. But have they ever been included, and has it been systematically in the past? Yes, as I gave proof with the Honorable Marcus Garvey. He's vice president of all the Pan-Africanists around the world. You see, because the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he was the president of all the Africans. You see what I'm saying? And his vice president was Charlotte Bass. So systematically, it has worked out that way. But because of the miseducation, after this, the 70s, the 80s, the black woman's not included in it. I mean, you can just see in society we live in now, like the black man, unfortunately, because of how we've been trained, doesn't trust the black woman, and the black woman doesn't trust the black man. And sometimes it can be chauvinistic, whereas the black woman in the past, although there was sexism in African culture in the past, but she still had that authority and power to deal with it. I gave the example with Queen Elewalo, the Somali queen, who was facing a lot of discrimination in regards to organization as well as ruling. And she had the power to, as I said, she used to hang, the black men upside down because they were very oppressive. But when the Portuguese tried to invade Somalia and stuff like that, she still stayed on code and didn't negotiate with them to go against her country. So now, unfortunately, Sister Bay is right. The black woman's not included, and brother Darren, you can tell he knows a lot of stuff, and I appreciate. And what he is saying in regards to the power dynamics, sorry, he's absolutely right. But at the same time, brother, that's our fault again. You know what I mean? The black woman's not included in things, brother, because there's still that Willie Lynch kicks out. So yes, Sister Bay is right. The black woman's not included into organization. She doesn't feel she is connected in it, and she doesn't feel secure in it because of how us black men are still not pan-Africanized in our mind. And that's what I like to say, respectfully.
So I'll put this back to you then, Brother Kale, as I've tried to ask Sister Betty. Name and shame those so-called organizations who are mistreating our black women in such a despicable manner. As I've reiterated before, I'm in many organizations where me and the black women and black men work harmoniously. Okay, I don't know of these organizations you and Sister Betty are referring to. So Sister Betty has clearly made it clear today. I've hurt her feelings, so she's not entertaining me. It is what it is. Brother Kale, I put it to you as you seem to be aware of these so-called organizations. Which organizations are you referring to? What are these big bad organizations what we have in the UK which are akin with the Black Caucus in the US, the NAACP in the US? What are these organizations you are referring to?
Well, Brother Darren, Sister Betty's answered she gave you a question in regards to there was an incident with some black women when it came to delivering, and they're asking for funding. Now, if you hear the question, brother, and I know you're intelligent to understand, you see what I'm saying in that, but she said something. Why do we have to seek funding out of our community? Now, whenever you hear an African descendant saying that they have to go out of the community to seek funding, that means, brother, we're not doing our job. Because the Chinese man, brother, if he's in that situation, or the Chinese woman, sorry, she don't need to go out of her community. The community's going to help her. So she's already highlighted already that particular topic is not getting sorted out. Why I agree with her, brother, regardless of all these organizations, because as what the Honorable Marcus Garvey said already, why I'm a bit skeptical of different organizations, because it leads to tribalism. That's the reason why it leads to tribalism. But she's absolutely right, brother, in regards to, we can say this organization and that, but if a black woman has to go out of her community and beg for funding, that means, brother, collectively, we're not doing our job. That's all I'd like to say.
Well, I'll put this back to you then, brother. One, you're talking about an organization. Neither of you have really actually explained to me what's the name of it. You haven't told me what the organization it is. So I cannot comment on that, and neither can you. Number two,
I can, brother.
You keep speaking about other races. Oh, the Chinese can do this, the Asian can do. Oh, hold on. I'll repeat again. We are unique in our suffering. So please don't be bringing other races in. I beg you don't do that, because it's not smart and it's not clever. Okay.
Hold on, family. Give me. Just remember, the most important thing I'm pushing forward to everyone is, because every episode, every show is a learning and a training session for all of us, and it's patterns. And the thing we have to realize is, even within these great conversations we're having, there's patterns. And like I said in the beginning, when men who debate and talk speak, there is this kind of competition that comes from the football and the computer games and this kind, and it's like almost like an art form. From my observation, this doesn't necessarily translate well when we include many women in this style of speaking. And I'm saying that there might be a way we can reevaluate how we communicate to best include women. Now, in the question, there's two things I want us to look at. One, are women allowed to participate within stuff? So if people are saying no, they can't, then that's one topic, right? But there's also, how do women feel like they can? So what might happen is women might be able to make decisions and join and have authority, but they might not feel like they can, because when they're around men, the aura and the way men are speaking, it might be somewhat intimidating on some level, but while men might not notice this. And this is something I'm observing from being in Speaker's Corner and other places, and how women feed back to me about certain things. So what I'm saying is, this kind of like competition based, way of communicating doesn't usually work for the majority of women, black women, when it comes to these issues. And what I would ask is, as far-fetched as some of the things might sound to the individual listening, listen to it and answer accordingly. Like, let's ask questions rather than pose solutions, right? Let's ask questions. So if the women are feeling a certain way, let's ask around that particular topic to get a more rounded idea of what they're actually seeing. Because the thing is, at a certain point, it might just be perspectives, and we should never be passionate and slightly befuddled by perspectives. You see? So it's the key is, how do we communicate to make both parties believe and understand that their opinions matter, and we're going to observe everything they say and really do it on the kindest level possible. Being kind is one of the best things we can do as a community. This is experience now speaking. So that's just 1.4. So carry on, guys. Go ahead.
Say about the organisation. I'm just actually trying to find the organisation's name, but I think, respectfully, Raven, I do think it's important to talk about solutions than constantly asking questions. As Einstein said, you can't have the same thinking that created the problem in order to get a solution. Now, I know in the Nigerian community, what they have is a woman's circle. Yeah. And then they have a wider circle with the Nigerian group. Yeah. And I'd find with Nigerians, you don't have to talk about sexism and the importance of putting women forward, because they're already aware of it. I find that when you talk to many men, black men raised in the West, because women get free access to education at point of receipt, their sexism gets hidden. But in a place like Nigeria, there are many men that will say, well, because you have to pay for education, they will say, well, I'm not going to pay for this girl child. So that, African men, that's like that in a lot of African countries. So African men are more aware of the sexism and the way black women are not looked after. Yeah. But in the West, because everybody gets the same education, many black men do not see the sexism and how black women are not getting taken care of. I feel like for us, it's important for sisters, like Raven says, black men have a different way of communicating. Some men are very aggressive, especially if they're told of black men's faults collectively. So I think it's important that black women have their own safe spaces, especially for black women suffering from domestic violence at the hands of a black man, sexual abuse, where they're afraid of black men. It is important to make sure that whether it's a girl or a woman, that she feels safe. And you can't have a black man in that because of the psychological damage. Yeah. Until she feels safe. That is something that women have to do. Yeah. So you have organizations in London. Yeah, the Soho, I think it's Solihull Black Sisters. You have Black Women Against Rape in London. That's an organization run by black women for black women who've been raped. If a black woman's been raped by a black man, you don't honestly think that you can work together with a black man. If you understand anything of psychology, yeah? Because especially if a black female child has been sexually abused by a black man, yeah, they can grow up to fear black men if they're not given help. Yeah. So these female black spaces are important. And then when these I know in my own community, in the Nigerian community, yeah, we have a women's circle. The men respect that circle. We come together with solutions and ideas, the women, and then we bring it forth to the men. And then we look at how we can implement it. But what you don't have is men coming into the circle, screaming and shouting and saying, how dare you say that black men are raping black women, they're not doing enough for black women. You don't have all this nonsense because they understand their role. And the black men, they have their own circle, the Nigerian man's circle. That's what they have. And then they come together. It's not a competition.
May I jump in before anyone else? So one thing I try to do when I speak in public is try to introduce new ways of operating that might be beneficial, or the intention is to be beneficial. And some things do sound controversial, but it should be tested and then reviewed. And one of the things I'd say to black men, if possible, is to not be offended by black women. And that sounds strong. Like, how does that work? But when you see how how the community is going and everyone working together for betterment, you realize that it is towards a man's advantage to never be feel insulted by the opinions of a woman. And the reason that is because not all, but many men and women can look at two different things and get two different interpretations for the experiences, right? And there's a science and social thing that we can study about that, right? So because of that, it's probably in black men's best interest to never be offended and to never be on the defensive about a woman's opinion, but to try to find out more and ask questions and understand that the black woman is your partner. That's just what it is. And if we ever become offended, the offense will take priority over the topic. You see that this is a fact I've noticed in Speaker's Corner. Once someone is offended, the offense becomes a topic, and the topic becomes forgotten. And unfortunately, the topic this week is black women. So if we are offended by the offense they have, we will not come together to work on solutions, because we're going to talk about us being offended rather than what can we do to make black women feel more included. And that's just a strategy. We can test it, see if it works. If not, we'll try something else. But that's what I push forward from experience.
So, Brother Raven, I'm hearing a lot of double speak with both you and Brother Kale.
Go ahead.
First, I'm hearing, well, black women can do everything a black man can. Yeah, majority. Then I'm hearing, well, black men shouldn't be up in their feelings, but black women can be up in their feelings when it suits them.
Yes.
So let's see, they can berate you, they can call you out, but a black man must not take that on heart. He must just carry on with a stiff upper lip. Am I right?
Yes. I mean, it's more complex than that, but just to make it more saucy, I'll say yes. The reason I say that is because black men have a massive responsibility, and already a lot of hardship is going to come our way, if not already. And what we have to understand is the world is not a soft place, and in order to be a man and defend our community, there needs to be a training, and a discipline, that allows us to work effectively as a community, and as best as the warrior class and the leaders of many institutes, right? So one of the things when it comes to leadership, right, is to see the bigger picture and to have a firm understanding. And from my experience and my practices, I can tell you that there is very little value in being emotionally offended by the opinions of black women when they're rightfully going through an experience that they're expressing. Rather than being emotionally opposite, we want to be with them in synchronization to help get them out of that emotion, to show them that they actually have a lifelong partner. And we won't be able to do that if we are competing. Now, just as we speak, my machine has jumped, so I assume someone's joined. Am I wrong? Has someone left her? Oh, we've got two bays. Bay, do you want to share?
I want to share my screen because I found the Black and Domestic Violence Organisation, and I wanted to show you the ones that are crying out for funding. So this is the organisation. It's called Sister Space. These are the sisters, as you can see. Yeah, and they're asking for funding. It's the only domestic violence centre for black women. Yeah, they were asking, I think they still got a GoFundMe, asking for funding because they were about to be thrown out of their accommodation due to COVID. Yeah. So this is what we're talking about in terms of black and betterment. Do black women have a voice? Well, if black women had a voice, Why does a black organization run by black women that are giving advice and refuge to black women suffering from domestic violence got to go and beg?
You see? Mm-hmm.
But
I
sister,
totally agree, man. I
I'm
Space.
totally agree.
aware of this organization. Brother Kale, are you aware of that organization? Brother Raven, are you aware of that organization?
But
I'm
brother
not.
Darren, I totally, you see, brother, respectful to you and that, yeah. I know that we're capable of doing many things in our different organization. But the problem is, brother, what use is an organization, yeah, if the black woman has to go out of her race? You see, brother, what you gotta understand is this.
No,
You
no.
said that we're unique, right? You said that we're unique, and I agree with you, brother. We are very unique. You know what I mean? But at the same time, brother, if we are unique, and I know we are, there's a problem that the sisters just highlighted. Now, first of all, when I saw the picture and I saw a European woman, so automatically it tells me this. She is controlling the organization. Now, in my eyes, a European should not be controlling an African organization, especially when it comes to the black woman, because the European woman has not helped the black woman in slavery and has not done anything for her and so forth. She's been her greatest enemy. This is facts. So when I'm seeing that there, and then Sister Betty saying that they have to beg, that tells me, oh no, because of a lot of us are not pan-Africanized and staying on code, we have failed the black woman again. It's facts.
Well, hold on there, Brother Kill. Number one, do you know this for fact that that white woman is the head honcho of said organization? Do you know that for fact? Number
I know
two,
that for a fact, brother.
well, number two, who put her in charge? Was it a black man or was it a black woman? Please, let's not stop playing these games, please. We're being very naughty here and we're going off issue. We're talking about,
Brother,
well, black
yeah.
women, what is it you need from us black men? We're not talking about we're going into who owns what organization and whatnot. I just explained. I didn't know about this organization. I know many of people who I work with don't know about this organization. Now, today, thankfully, a few
Can I
more.
just say something since it's about black women? Yeah, and I'm a black woman. Yeah, I don't know where Kel got the information from, but from what I know, Kel, it says Ngozi Fulani was the organization head. Now, the way to check it is normal. I think if it's a corporation, it's Companies House, or the Charity Commission if it's a registered charity. But from what I know, it's not controlled by white women, and the founder is not white. It's a Caribbean sister with locks and goes it. So I don't know, Kale. Yeah. Can I ask you, Kale, where you got the information that it was controlled by a white woman?
And I'll answer the question on that. You said it's a charity base. You said it's a charity base, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Domestic violence, the charities.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Sister Betty, and that, yeah. From a political, scientific way, right, is that anytime there is a black movement that needs funding and has a European or a non-African in there, 9 out of 10 times, Sister Betty, this is due to historically it's been controlled by non-African people. Do you understand? This is facts in every single way. Number two in that they have to ask for funding. Yeah. But if it's a charity event, they should be able to get the funding already. So why are they asking for funding if it's a charity base? Because it's controlled by Europeans, that's why. And that's why, Sister Bay, respectfully, I can talk about these things because the organization, especially the group that I'm from the Pan-Africanist group and so forth. And we believe in self-determination, as what the Honorable Marcus Garvey left down. No non-African should be helping African liberation, not one bit. It's a sin because whenever they come into our organization, they control it. And then it makes black people say, oh, they can be our leaders because we've been systematically put in that situation. So when I'm seeing a picture like that and they need funding, I automatically know already it's not an African corporation, Sister Betty. That's why, respectfully.
Oh, okay, Kale. So if that's your opinion, you know, we can agree to disagree. But the information that I have, it's by a black woman. She seems to be a Rastafarian. Yeah. Now, what I would suggest that for the people listening that care about Black women and Black betterment and them being safe, that you donate to Sister Space, because like a brother Kale said, many Black organizations, even if they're trying to, make the Black collective safe and focusing on Black women, end up having to get the begging bowl out for white folk. Now, one of the reasons I think is because the abuse that these Black women are suffering from are from Black men. And Black men won't donate to an organization when they know it's Black men that are abusing these Black women.
I have to sincerely ask for that kind of rhetoric to stop. That is, do you actually have facts on that, Sister Betty? Because I've asked both you and Brother Kale on certain things you said, come with facts and figures. Please stop just giving rhetoric which you believe sounds right to you. Please, let's not be painting us all with the same tired brushstroke. Come with facts and figures. The organization you have shown today, thank you for showing it. I was not aware of this, and like I said, many of Black people in the UK will not have known of this organization. Okay, so whether that means that it needs to be better marketed, we need it to be put out there to be better known, that definitely needs to be the case. Because this organization you're referring to, it's not the only one Black organization what needs funding. Whether it be just solely for the betterment of Black women, there are plenty out there that need funding as well, grassroots organizations. But please, 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 family, I ask you again, come with facts and figures before you start making such remarks as Sister Betty has just made.
But brother Darren, brother Dan, I've got a question for you. Now, you just said, about the organizations and the facts of how do we know it's been infiltrated that way? We know historically, my brother.
No, brother. You keep bringing to another level from what we are talking about today. We're not talking about the infiltration of the white man and whatnot. You keep bringing it into the Marcus Garveyites and whatnot. It's you, brother. We're trying to stay on Black women.
Brother Darren, respectfully, brother Darren, the reason why I mention the Honorable Marcus Garvey and Garveyism, because it's the only organization, brother, that liberated and helped the Black woman and the Black man to stick together and stay on code. It's the only one, brother. That's why I got to mention it. You see, I'm about tangible solutions. I'm about what is correct and what's not. Garveyism, brother, is the only organization in history, my brother, that where the Black man and the Black woman worked together. The Black woman had her own hospital nursing. It was called the Black Cross. You see what I'm saying in that? They had the shipping company, things like it's the only one, brother. As from today, there is no organization. And by the way, all Black organization comes from Garveyism, Pan-Africanism anyway. But as a return back, there is no organization today, brother, that can outbe what the Honorable Marcus Garvey did when he liberated the Black man and the Black woman, helped them with the political economics, understand politics, understand culture. Brother, we have a government. It's a system, Garveyism. It's a system. You see what I'm saying in that? That has been reinvented from how the Africans had their system in the past. It's a system, brother. So that's why I can use this platform in this situation. There are women, as what Sister Betty mentioned. And there was another sister, I think it was Sister Kushti, shout out to her and stuff like that. And she mentioned there was some incidents with Black women that they were being misrepresented when it came for her delivering a baby and stuff like that. And I made it clear, I gave the facts and proof, is that the African Caribbeans or the African descendants in the 30s in the UK, I know that they were influenced by the Honorable Marcus Garvey, that they used to deliver the Black children without the system knowing. They used to adopt Black children without the system knowing. If a Black woman has to go out of her organization and beg for money, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, brother. As what the Honorable Marcus Garvey says, non-African should be funding Black liberation. It's a contradiction, my brother.
Brother Carl, just so you know, we have a new joiner in Jarina.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
How you doing, How you doing?
Happy New Year.
And sis, I don't know if you've been hearing, but the question today is, do Black women feel included in organizations that practice Black betterment? And you are a black woman, is that correct? Would I okay to
Yes,
say?
yes, fully black woman here, not mixed raced or anything. The face of black women lately. So yeah, I think that they do not feel included in organizations. I think they're mules for black organizations. To be honest, black women are like the backbone of all these organizations. They're not given credit. They're not supported. They do the donkey work, and then they have, someone like. I don't know, like a mixed race person that represents them. That's a woman that gets all the attention. So the answer to that question is no, they do not feel included. And I think they need to actually set up their own movement and make themselves included and speak up more. And also to stop chastising black women that have a voice.
You've just said that black women need to work together.
When did I say that?
Didn't you just say that? You say black women should do their own party or do their own group?
Yeah, I agree. I believe in a black female unity. There's lots on Facebook. There's a lot of Facebook groups that includes only black women, and it's very liberating. And we are in discussion of also using our magical powers, such as wishing things on people. I don't know if you know this, but black women have lots of powers, literally lots of spiritual powers that they are currently not using and are not aware of it. So I think when black women get together, it's amazing how much power they have because they're bouncing off their different energies. And if they were just given more support so that they can fulfill, their ambition.
Oh, this is the problem I'm having today. We're speaking about black women doing for self.
Can I have a word with Jarena since she's a black woman? Because you've spoken quite a lot, Darren, and I would like to speak to a black woman since the chat is about black women.
Yeah.
And if you look at the chat, the sister doesn't want to come on because of how confrontational it's become. So can I have a word with my sister, please?
Yeah, feel free. Hello.
Darren. Hi, Jarena. Big up, Jarena. One of the issues in terms of funding of sister space, is obviously the abuse is done by black men, because obviously the majority of black women are with black men. Yeah. Now, the question of them having to beg for funding, because there are many black men that don't want to look themselves in the mirror to see whether or not they're abusive and terrorizing their women and their families. But there are serious consequences. Yeah. The fact of the matter is there are black women that are being killed and being murdered by many black men.
It's serious because it's I think it's right. It's a hot spot for black women to fall into that trap because we live in a racist white supremacist society that allows this to happen. And a lot of those black women that enter sister space, are scared of being, taken to immigration. Their abusers use that as a threat. If you contact the authorities,
if you contact how many times have there are black women that are too afraid to call the police because they say it's running to the white man. They sell out, she ran to the white man while the black man is abusing and beating.
It's that's definitely a big problem in our community, and I think a sister space is brilliant for that. And even though they're doing such great work for black women, look what the mostly white council do. They stop them. They literally took their premises away from them. They're kicking them out very soon.
Look, it's up to black men to support and look after black women. There is no black man that got on this planet without coming through a woman. So if your sister is being beaten by her husband, then you get out there and you protect her. But we can't see black men, they cannot protect themselves. We all saw how Floyd was murdered on the street and a black man stood there to watch it. Black men effectively can't protect themselves, let alone protect black women. When you look at the funding for domestic violence, for the wider society organization, do you know where that funding comes from? The Tampax.
Oh my God.
Women are paying to give refuge to women who have been beaten by their husbands. How disgusting is that? that men don't have to put their money down to protect women that they came out of. That they expect us as women to use our money. Why can't the men use their money since they came through a woman?
It's that whole bros code, isn't it? Like they support each other and they don't recognize that, you know, supporting women also supports children. Like it helps the community. They're not aware of that. They live in a toxic, masculine society that does not respect women. So can you imagine, you know, a black woman, not only is she a woman, but she's also black. So she has like added things facing her. So the more support.
Black men guilt trip black women. That's what they do. When they're being abused, they're guilt tripping black women. Say, don't go to the white man, because if you call the police, you know how the police, the white man will treat the black man.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what you're saying. It's a big problem in our community, and you know that's why I support Sister Space, and I've promoted their charity. I think they're an excellent organization, and even getting support from the wider audience because they see the help that they're giving to so many women out there, especially in London. But it's not only in London. We need it around the UK because there's those women that are totally isolated all over the UK, you know, that don't have a community, that are suffering. It's a shame.
Exactly. But this idea that the fact of the matter is, black women, even if you look at the white organization, Erin, who set up the first women's refuge in the UK, she owned the property. It was out of that own white woman's back. And she gave refuge to white women and black women. It was her money that had to be used.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about black and betterment, how does it not include black women? And why shouldn't black men pay for the abuse that they're inflicting on black women? Why shouldn't they pay? Who cares whether or not you're the black man abusing? Are you not a collective? Are you not your brother's keeper? How many black
people? They need more education, really. Like if they were given
how many black children being killed at the hands of a black man? I would ask the brothers, are you your brother's keeper? You claim that you're going to protect black women. You can't even protect yourself.
What is the solution? What do you think we should do to highlight? I mean, this platform is great for a start. Raven organizing this platform and asking this question is definitely a good start. It hasn't been done before, not that I've seen. The topics are all about, you know, black male egos and historical figures. Very few black historical women figures, you know.
Exactly. They will go on about Marcus Garvey. They will go on about who's that other one, Malcolm X. It's all through the lens. It's his story, never her story.
How about Winnie Mandela? Like this is one thing I think Winnie Mandela was more courageous than Nelson Mandela. I think that her statue should be in Parliament, not Nelson Mandela, the sellout.
So I say this, sisters. One of the things I'm trying to highlight is sometimes things happen and it escalates, and we don't see the beginning point, but we know the end point isn't the most desired. And what I say is, as long as women are not around, we're never going to hear women's opinions. So the solution is to always have women around. So what I'm trying to do is obviously reach out and get women to jump on board on many stuff, but also to hear your opinions of how you interpret certain things, and what can men do to make certain situations more appealing or more comforting. Now, what I'm observing is some of the way men communicate with each other does not work well when communicating with women. Would you agree with that, sister?
Yes. It's a culture of it's become sort of a black British culture, or generally conservative British culture, but between black and female community members, the way they speak to each other is quite harsh. There's no chivalry, is there?
Yeah, I agree. Now, what I would say, and hopefully you've observed this for me, if you're saying that this platform is one of the early platforms that's allowing a more expanding conversation and having women lead the charge and have their opinions pushed through, I can only give you the strategy of how I do it, and one of them is to ask questions, and another thing is what I'm trying to bring out to the brothers, because there will be a time where we'll have to actually have brother to brother kind of shows and try to teach each other certain strategies. And one of them is to not be offended by what women say. And the reason I say that is because what's happening is there's an interpretation or a truth that women are seeing, and they're expressing their truth, and already it's causing like a back and forth rather than actually listening to go, oh, is that how you see that? So that's sometimes when we argue, we go way past certain very, very important points. And one of the points we mentioned here was that there are shelters where women are being beat up, right? And there's a belief that men will not fund that shelter because essentially they're funding their downfall. And that is not the correct way to view that from a man's standpoint. Now, the correct standpoint from a man's standpoint is no woman should ever be harmed by a man, ever. And that's a full stop. There is no but this, but that. No society can thrive if men are harming women. It just doesn't work. Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to make the distinction between feelings and physical actual pain, right? And why it's necessary for men to control our feelings from the opinions of women being hurt and saying things. It's very important. You see, because what's happening now, we've gone right past the facts of the situation, that there's organizations built upon helping women deal with men, but that should not be an issue in the first place. And another issue is, yes, if men are not funding that, that's like a double negative. Isn't it? That's like, that can't even exist. Like, there are some who are harming women, and there are many men who are not even funding or acknowledging that. And then funding is coming outside of that community to fund that. But the history of why so many Black people are in an undesirable situation is because the community groups that are funding this betterment are actually, from a historical standpoint, the primary reason of why this legacy is here today. You see?
Yeah.
So it becomes this Pandora's box of just emotion and pain, and we forget that actually like the beginning source, the first domino. And what I'm saying is, from my understanding, from men today, if you want a quick solution, I'm telling you, men, from my experience, do not get angry at the pain Black women tell you. Do not get angry. Yeah,
I totally agree, brother.
There you go, family. And just from our experience, you will progress. Ask questions, find out the source of the pain, and let's work as a team. Because if a Black woman is losing, a Black man is losing, and if a Black man is losing, a Black woman is losing.
True.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying, what's good about these shows, family, you can jump on very shortly, is everyone gets their opinion, and we're learning how to communicate. And hopefully we can be the source of truth that can go out there in the internet world and train the community the best way to communicate, so we can find solutions for our community, right? That's what it is. Anyone else can jump in and add to that.
Brother Raven.
Yes.
Brother Raven.
Can I say about just a quote thing from Sister Space? This is what they say on their website. Our survivors are from many different sectors of the African and Caribbean community, including the Rastafarian and grassroots community, who are often on the fringes of society. Rastafarian women are among those who are the highest rate of unreported. Yeah. So it's telling you that Black women and Rasta women are suffering from domestic violence.
Yes.
And they're the least people to access the services and the help. Now, who is doing the abusing? Because the Rasta women I know are with the brothers. I not see no Rasta woman with no white man. I see her with a brother. So yes, they should fund to make sure that those women are safe. Because as the brother Damon keeps on saying, that he and many other Black men look after their families. Well, it takes a village to raise a child. So you won't mind using extra of your money to go and help the Black women that are being terrorized by Black men. Since it's all collective.
Hold on there, Sister Betty. Once again, I put it to you. This organization which you have highlighted today, not everyone in the UK is aware of this. And I put it to the group again. There are many other black organizations out there who need serious funding as well. Granted, we're talking about women today. This organization you have brought to the table is not in its own right unique in funding. Number two, black men in general with the funding, hell, we'll fund whoever we can, where we can. We just need to know about it. We're not saying we won't. We're not saying we hell to the no. Those who say that, to hell with them. We don't need you. You're not part of the collective. In fact, you are the problem. And furthermore, may I reiterate, I am not saying I am out for me and mine alone. I am here for the collective. I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing in the background if I was not for the collective and future generations to come.
Now, family, what we're going to be doing week to week is, I think it's necessary to have more of these discussions where we have black men and black women really trying to find ways to communicate better for solutions. So by next week, there'll be a new topic that will be of the same, and hopefully people can return and invite other people on, because we want to hear, different people's perspectives and ideas. And I also start by thanking everyone for coming live, because it takes a lot to give your opinion, and everyone is coming from a strong place. And I truly do believe that everyone on this panel today wants black people to succeed, and we're trying to find that best way of doing it. But as we go here, we definitely want to give black women, the choice and have them express, and hopefully they can join us next week. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to round off the show now. What we're going to do, I'm going to ask the men to give their kind of conclusion, and then have the women go last. And maybe they can set up some ideas of what maybe next week would be about, because we're listening. So if the guys could just give their final thoughts, there will be next week to go over, and then hopefully the sisters can conclude. Go ahead, brothers.
Brother Bill, go for it. Brother Kale, you still with us?
Say again, my brother. What was that? I didn't catch that.
We're saying we're concluding the show now, but we're gonna have the women go last because it's their time. So, is there anything you want to last round up? And this will be repeated next week, by the way, in a different format. So, just like to conclude for this week, just your feelings and thoughts of this week and what to look forward to next week, I guess.
Okay. As I said many times before, the reason why I mentioned the Honorable Marcus Garvey, because his solution is the solution for the black man and the black woman. He says a race without authority or power is a race without respect. I believe our problems is that we're not Pan-Africanizing our mind. We should Pan-Africanize every single thing. There's economics, justice for women. It should be Pan-Africanized. And I totally stand by that. We should not be getting help from non-Africans, because as you said already, Raven, historically, it's not worked out. But I truly believe the black woman's solution is to be Pan-Africanized, and the man has to help the black woman out. That's all I want to say.
Brother Darren?
Very interesting topic today. I would prefer to hear a lot more answers from Sister Betty, but she's taken affront to what I've said earlier. Can't say anything else to that. All I would say, in respect of when we're speaking about each other, whether it be a black man talking about a black woman and vice versa, we do our absolute best not to use broad strokes in making it out that a whole heap of black men or a whole heap of black women, which are our issues in this current land or current world. It really is a collective thing. It really, really is a collective thing. And in order for the black woman to succeed, as we all know, the black man has to succeed. In order for the black man to succeed, the black woman has to succeed. But when we start castigating each other, start talking about, no, it's all you guys' fault. No, it's you guys' fault. That's when we're going to falter. And no kind of collective advice, way forward, strategy can be forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. So I have a sister, Jarena, a sister Bay. Is up to you. Which order you would like going?
I'll go first, Betty. Yeah, it's just Jarena here. I just want to say how the Black British community we're a large community, and we need to sort out our differences, Black men and women, and we also need to stop. Well, we need Black men to stop promoting mixed race relationships. That's another downhill of this community. The way that you're going with the whole dating out the race is not helping the community at all. You're just bringing enemies that hate Black women. That's been the biggest blow to the Black community in the UK, is the promotion of mixed relationships on our community. And the other thing I want to say is that I do believe that 2021 is the year for the Black woman. And I think there's lots of Black women that are Pan-African. African women are naturally very proud of their culture and into matriarchal living. So I think that you will see more organization movements centering Black women in that organization, leading it. And I think that they need to be supported and encouraged. That's from me.
Thank you. Can I just say thank you for Kale and some of the things that he said? I agree with some of the things, and thank you to Jarena and Raven. I just want to say that so often in the Black community we hear his story, because we live in a white world. We're chocolate brown in a vanilla world, and the West is a very patriarchal society. And it's important that we do go back to our roots in the sense of understanding that, there is no he without her. There is no male that got on the planet if he did not come through a woman. And he must remember that and pay respect to that. Yeah. That it's important that you tell your story as a Black woman. If they are Black men who are attacking you, disrespecting you, and refusing to let you speak, then don't entertain them. The same thing goes for if they are white men and Chinese men that are disrespecting Black women, because this happens quite often. Yeah. Go as a Black woman to where you're loved and renovated. That's what I would say. Tell her story, because you can never be a man. Thank you, Raven. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Bear, and thank you for the panel. And guys, we'll be here next week, and some really interesting topics brought up there, especially in the outro. And these are topics we will be tackling. Some later on, because some it takes a bit more organization because of the sheer passion of the topic. But there is correctness in everything that you were saying. Next week, hopefully, if you can invite more women. Like, the thing is, there's loads of women who listen to the shows, but obviously some people are not necessarily filled with the confidence to jump on live. It is quite daunting, I admit. And one thing we're trying to do is to create a platform where people can feel like they have their opinions matter. It's a learning experience, but this format we have now is working because it's bringing the issues out. But we're working as a collective, as a team, to find out the issues. But if there's anything you want me to cover next week, just give me a message in this forum here. Like anything, because obviously, if women don't speak, the chances are you won't get heard. Like, that's how I've learned. So your opinions matter. So anything you want us to cover, just pull it in the comment section after the video goes live, and I'll pull it within the agenda for next week. But we're gonna be doing a couple of back-to-back Black women issues, and I know there's a lot, but hopefully as men we can find better ways to communicate, so we can become a better team. Really, that's how it works. But guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, next week, hopefully, you guys will join us. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See you later, family. Take care.
Bye.